Hey friends, this is Andy Liggett here, here with Jonah chapter 4. And I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous about doing Jonah chapter 4. For the main reason is because I think Jonah chapter 4 is really great. And if it were up to me, I think I would do a 4-part sermon series on just Jonah chapter 4. There is so much to be said, and I'm wasting my time talking about how nervous I am that I'm going to miss something. But I know I'm going to miss something. You know, I only have this 5-minute walk. I would encourage everybody to read Jonah chapter 4 and just really just absorb all the greatness of it. But so it starts, and it said, and Jonah was exceedingly angry, because in the previous chapter the Ninevites heard his message that they were going to be destroyed, and they said, look, maybe, I think this is the most amazing part, they really stepped out in faith, you know, they believed him right away, and they said, maybe if we show some remorse, God will relent. And so they put sackcloth and ashes on themselves, which is a sign of remorse, and they put it on their cattle, and they all repented. And then it says, and God didn't do it. I mean, he really saw them, and he was like, wow, okay, they relented, I relent. And just a really wonderful sign of what God has done for us. You know, I mean, it's not exactly the same, because, you know, Jesus paid the price for us, but anyways, so Jonah's exceedingly angry, and he says, he looks at God and says, I knew it. I'd picture him being like a little child, just angry at his parents or his teacher or something. You know, when you get really angry, the truth really comes out. And with all that hatred and all the anger and the righteous indignation, he just comes right out, completely disgusted with God. And he says the most hurtful, most awful, most wretched thing he could possibly say. And I suppose with tears in his eyes, because, you know, he's to the point of suicide. He just cries out to God, and he says, I knew it. I knew it. He said, I knew you were a God of love, full of grace and abounding in steadfast love. This is why I wanted to go to Tarshish. This is why I didn't want to come to Nineveh, because I knew you were a God of love. It's such a strange thing to get upset about. I've never heard anybody get upset about something like that. Like, I knew you were full of love. That's why I was running away from you, because I knew you were going to love these people. I think to me it's one of the most treasured things he could have said, and you know it's true. The things said in anger usually are. But he says, you know, you're a God of love, and God says, are you right to be angry about the Ninevites? And Jonah didn't say anything. He just walks away, gives God the silent treatment. And so God changes his tactics a little bit. Says Jonah made a booth. I guess it's probably like a tent, something for him to sleep. And he stands outside the city because he's thinking, you know, there's still chance, you know, maybe my little hissy fit is changing God's mind. He's gonna bring down fire from heaven like I was hoping he would do. So he's standing outside the city, and God makes this vine growing up around him, and it brings shade. And it said that Jonah was exceedingly happy about the vine. And but then the next day it said that he appointed, in the same way he appointed the whale, said he appointed a worm or a caterpillar or something to eat up the vine. And Jonah was exceedingly upset about the vine. And God comes back to him and asks him a very similar question. He goes, do you do well to be upset about the vine? And Jonah says, I am upset enough to die. And God just kind of flips him on his head and says something like, so you care about this vine that I created and that you did not. You didn't help it grow. You didn't do anything for it. And he's like, and here you are upset that it died. And he's like, in that city that you're looking at, there's 120,000 people there that don't know their left hand from their right hand. And essentially he's saying, you love this vine, and it's just a vine, and you met it yesterday. He said, I have seen these people grow up since infancy. I knit them together in their mother's womb, you know? He's probably saying, I love every single one of them. And, you know, are you right to be angry about that? And that's where it ends. You know, there's no real ending there. It just ends with this question.